Queso! And welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the Farewell Cold War video. Call of Duty Cold War, very interesting installment into the series. Very divisive, turned some people away, brought some people in, pissed a lot of people off. Very interesting, but I don't want to get too much into it. Don't want to bog the intro down. Now, the way I want to do this video, and we might get a little bit bogged down in the logistics of everything, but the way that I want to do this video is I want to talk about the things that I didn't like necessarily, the things that I did like, followed by some things that I'm kind of down the middle on / improvements that we're looking forward to seeing in future installments. Now, I don't want this entire video to be about, you know, upcoming titles and comparing it to other ones, but that's just kind of what's going to happen, because obviously it's not just its own independent thing. There is kind of a series with this, so we will talk about that a little bit, but I'll try to do my best to keep it at a minimum. Let's roll some gameplay. Before I get into the negatives of this game and everything, is one of the negatives satellite. We're avoiding that. Miami's not much better though. But the one thing I will touch on kind of is I do want to give credit where credit is due. Treyarch put out this title a year before they were anticipating releasing it. They did the best they could in getting it out. While it didn't reach the expectations I had for it, they did do a pretty good job with the game, and I will give them credit for that. Is it exactly what everybody wanted, myself included? Hell no, not even close. But I will give credit where credit is due, and they did do a good job at getting us a new title, because we could have just had Modern Warfare 2019 for 2020 as well, but they went above and beyond giving us this new title, and I will give credit where credit is due. However, we do got to talk about some cons before we can talk about some positives. The first thing I will talk about here, I was not the biggest fan of the maps released both at launch and post-launch. You know, I'm thinking ahead at maps that I would love to see remastered in future installments, or maps that I would just love to go back and play. And I did find myself, aside from maybe one or two maps, maybe a few, I'd have to look at the list of them, have it in front of me. However, aside from the remaster maps, nothing really crazily stood out to me though. But I just was not the biggest fan of the maps. They just felt off to me. And while I can appreciate and understand giving us remastered map, I think it was Nadeshot that said it though, I want to have experiences on new maps. I don't want every DLC pack, the big selling point, or I guess not really selling point anymore, but the big showboat thing of the season to be that we're getting a remaster of another Black Ops 2 map. Now, trust me, you know, I know Black Ops 2 is fire. I won't sit here and deny that, but it was just a little bit disappointing to see every season one of the best maps, if not the best map of the season, would be a remaster map and not something entirely new. It just was a little bit underwhelming in terms of the maps. The next thing I'll touch on real quickly, and again, I don't want this video to be an hour long and me just harping on it and all that good stuff, but the next thing I want to touch on is the weapons, more specifically the weapon attachments. Now, I think they did a good job with the weapons, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But when it comes to attachments, I was a little bit underwhelmed to see that literally every single gun got all the same attachments in all the same order, just slightly different names. And by the end of the game here, we were all using the same builds on every single gun. That was just a little bit upsetting following Modern Warfare 2019 that gave us, you know, a wild amount of customization for every single gun. You're turning your M4 into a sub, or you turn into a sniper rifle, and I don't know why I'm playing that kid, even though he just ran through me. But it just was kind of frustrating to go from just such a diverse level of customization to really bare bones. And again, they didn't have to give us Gunsmith. They could have given us the Pick-10 system, which is all the same attachments, and just told us to deal with it. So I will commend them for bringing back Gunsmith and giving us, you know, a higher level of customization than Black Ops Past. But, you know, I was just a little bit underwhelmed to see the kind of cookie cutter builds for every single AR and every single sub and so on and so forth. I've filmed this video a couple times and I've gone crazy in all those, and I feel like this might be the one where I actually have formulated thoughts and opinions is gonna be the one that I fumble. Now I know that Treyarch games are traditionally arcadey with their movement and gameplay aspect, and I'm not gonna complain about that because I do enjoy the kind of the faster sliding and the more arcadey movement style. However, switching to the score streak system that they did was not their best move. With the score streak system not resetting upon death and the end of games turning into 5 different napalm strikes coming in and then a gunship or 2, you get players that calling in crazy score streaks that they wouldn't, you know, earn otherwise. But again, I can understand the stylistic choice in doing so. It's very hard to pinpoint a lot of problems, and I know I might be looking at it with rose-tinted glasses, and I'll miss a lot of potentially negative comments to make about the game. But at the same time, I don't want to sit here and bash the game a lot, because again, I will say, yeah, there was a lot wrong with the game, but it was a rushed production cycle, and a lot of problems that we may have had with the game could have been ironed out with the extra year that they, you know, should have had, which is why, you know, a lot of us have, myself included, really high expectations for Vanguard. They've had since 2017, I think, right? So 4 years. They had an extra year to get their game just right. And so I'm really hoping in my heart of hearts that Vanguard goes crazy. All in all, though, those are my major complaints. I mean, I could obviously be more in depth, but the way I like to do these videos is kind of freestyling them, having a vague idea as to what I want to talk about. I think some of the guns that they added wasn't the biggest. Like, I love the Grav, I love the Farah, and I love the Krig, but they are the same gun. All 3 of them are a Galil. Which, I mean, is fine. You know, I'm not going to sit here and complain about that aspect of things, but I did think that was kind of odd. Also, their choices in terms of making shotguns a secondary wasn't my favorite thing in the world. But again, stylistic choices are stylistic choices. You know, again, I don't want to sit here harping the whole time. With that, though, I think we're going to conclude the negative aspect of the review as we play Cartel, which is just, I hate Cartel, but I'll deal with it for you guys. But enough about the negatives. We got a game of negatives in. Let's get a game of positives in real quick and hopefully go positive. I think the weapon pool that they have, I mean, aside from duplicates, like I said, the weapon pool that they have was fantastic. In terms of post-release content, they did a stellar job with giving us all sorts of new and fun things added to the game post-launch. At launch, the game was relatively solid. You could feel as though it wasn't finished, and so I gave it till around Season 2 to really kind of give those full opinions on the game and its content, because I feel like at Season 2 was about where we would be normally. Season 2, content-wise, is roughly where I think they would have wanted to launch. And for that, though, post-release content, fantastic. Making sure they're keeping us well taken care of. Plenty of new maps, plenty of new guns. They even added new score streaks, which I don't feel like they had to do, but they did it anyways, which was fantastic. I think it kept the game alive. I mean, obviously, updates are what keeps any game going. I think, you know, a lot of games out there. I will say though that the shotgun pistol pisses me off still. I know it's still relatively new, but whoever put that in the game. I think post-release content, they did a fantastic job, and I hope that's the kind of the precedent Call of Duty sets going forward. I would have liked, you know, maybe new perks added even, or something along there, but that's just kind of me being nitpicky. I think they did a great job though. Battle passes were all great. I know it's gonna be pretty controversial, but their bundles that they dropped this year, absolutely stellar. They went so hard on bundles, and I can't and won't complain about that whatsoever. I mean, obviously, spend your money how you want to spend your money. If you don't want to buy bundles, don't buy bundles. But the bundles that they did offer us were fantastic. I felt as though they did a good job at balancing kind of the anime, brightly colored, craziness with, you know, somewhat realistic bundles as well. I think they did a good job with that. So I'd commend them greatly for that and giving us, you know, all sorts of cool aesthetics for our characters. And like I said, they did a good job of balancing both hyper unrealistic with bright colors with also making them work. But like, I love the panda from Season 6. That should go so hard. And also the addition of, you know, Rambo and Ghostface and John McClane from Die Hard, like great collaborations. I think they did a good job with that. And again, like I said, during the map aspects of things, I wasn't the biggest fans of the maps they gave us. However, a couple of maps that they did add, I was pretty solid, I'd say. You know, I think I had a good time with, you know, the mall map to this day is still really fun for me. Apocalypse is one of my favorite maps post-launch that they've added. Ooh, if I would have peeked that, crazy. Nice little streak to go on there. Also, I will say, the game modes they added post-launch, fantastic. Adding sticks and stones post-launch, giving a Scream Deathmatch, one of my favorite modes, making Michael Myers like a legitimate mode. After all the fun I had playing that, when I was like all the way back in like Modern Warfare 3 days. The Infected, they did a great job with Infected. That's super duper duper fun. I also will say that their events, in terms of like the numbers event, the Halloween event, just to name a couple there, absolutely fantastic, giving us fun and challenges that aren't crazy difficult, but at the same time make you play a little bit differently. I can play the game. I can play that. I get 360. I want to check the stats. I feel like we're having a great game here. I wouldn't say that's my best kill. Let's play the game. I wasn't a 13 there. Almost got the 14. Pretty solid though. I have a strafe run to start the half. Even the actions you can do, like the throwing, you guys saw me do it at the start of the last game. Just like throwing candy at people. It's so much fun. I mean, and then obviously the flipping people off was a good one. The celebratory smoke was great. I mean, they gave us a lot of different customization options, which I thought was great. The camos, I feel like I should have thrown that into my negatives aspect. I wasn't the biggest fan of the camos they had at launch. The zombies camos, absolutely absurd. Favorite camos that they have for us. Wasn't the biggest fan of the multiplayer ones. And then again, Dark Matter wasn't great for me. Dark Ether was fantastic. I love Dark Ether. I think they did a good job with Dark Ether. But again, we're talking about positives here. Zombies camos, great. All in all, though, a lot of positives for the game. For whatever reason, for a Call of Duty game, I felt like the replayability was kind of low, as I just absolutely dropped that. Please push that. Shouldn't have pushed it. Oh, wow. Could you imagine if I got that too? Wow, that would have been like oh, that would have been so cool. But the replayability for this COD just was not what I am like used to, I guess. Because again, like, you know, my amount of content that I've put out this year that's COD related is very limited. Because I just didn't have as much fun playing this Call of Duty as I had in years past. Get shit on. But I mean, like I said, touching back on it earlier, the bundles aspect. I mean, look at this bright pink with the flamingo on the side. I mean, they made this bundle for me. There is even a goddamn cheese weapon charm. So I feel like they did a good job in terms of giving us a lot of post-release aesthetics. Again, while the maps weren't my favorite, providing us with brand new maps every season, whether it be gunfight maps, as well as, you know, your standard 6v6, and even the Fire Team Dirty Bomb maps, which was a mode that I never really played, wasn't the biggest fan of it, but still, you know, keeping all of us well-fed, aside from zombies players, but keeping us all well-fed with content was such a cool thing. And not to say Modern Warfare didn't do that, but I think Cold War just did it a little bit better. I think they did a good job of trying to almost make it up to us after launch by giving us all this additional content, new maps, new guns. And I know Modern Warfare set that precedent, but Cold War took it above and beyond, in my opinion. And they did a good job with keeping it creative with that. The operators, like I was saying, I mean, look at the skull and guy here. Super, like, that's, you didn't see that in Modern Warfare. I mean, Ghost, but still, like, that's so, I love that. That's so clean. I have no teammates to throw candy at. Happy Halloween, bitch. Should be seeing this either on Halloween or the day before Halloween, which also happy Halloween, flock. That's the thing that I think we took for granted almost was, yeah, like I'm bitching about the maps and everything, but they didn't have to give us new maps. They could have just gave us the day one content, said deal with it, or if you want more, you can pay for it. You know what I'm saying? By giving us free content every season, they didn't have to do that. And very cool of them to do that. Very cool of them to give us new guns, even though the Marshall shotguns should not have been out of the game. And I will forever stand by that. But again, that's just kind of borderline nitpicky. Not getting a double blood. When it comes to field upgrades and perks, I think they did a pretty good job. I wish they would have added perks mid-season because I feel like that would have been an even more diverse thing to do. They did a pretty good job with lethals and tacticals as well. Can't complain too awful much about it. I mean, they're all pretty standard stuff. I don't know if I would include anything or take anything away. I think stims are kind of here to stay at this point. Based on my very limited experience in Vanguard, they're pretty worthless in Vanguard just because the time to kill is so fast that you don't really have the time and or ability to pop a stim. So... like I complimented earlier, I think they did a good job with score streaks, and I did enjoy them adding new score streaks. They kind of stopped that, though, it felt like. Oh, didn't even mean to stick him. That's crazy. I wish they added a couple more score streaks. Obviously, you're a bit limited. I'm not, like, super duper limited, but you are a little bit limited with what you can add in the 1960s, 80s, 1980s. So I will give them that. The other thing I kind of touched on it, didn't throw it in the right section, but I guess it's more down the road. The zombies experience and zombies fan base, I felt, was super duper neglected. And now I can understand Treyarch was pulled away by, you know, parties at large to work on Vanguard Zombies experience. I will acknowledge that, and you know, that's an entirely different subject in itself as to them working on that. I'm excited for them, but it was a little bit frustrating to see Cold War get neglected in that aspect. I think they did a good job with D Machina, and they did a good job with Firebase Z. Mauer der Toten was good too, was a good experience. I think took way too long to come out. And sure, it was a repaste of a campaign map, but I think they still did a pretty good job with that. And then Forsaken as well. Forsaken wasn't nearly as well done as Mauer, but still, it just was one of those things. Very frustrating as a zombies fan, per se, to see them kind of get neglected in that aspect. Look, play the game. Play the half, at least. MP5 all of a sudden has just been very good. Very dominant. Like I said, the first two maps they dropped, fantastic experiences. Firebase Z and D Machina, good maps. I think D Machina got stale so quickly because of the fact that we had to wait, you know, several months for a new map. And again, they didn't have to give us new maps. That's why I'm not going to complain too awful much about it. It just was a little bit frustrating to see them go so hard on those first two experiences and not have the vision they had be utilized the way they wanted to utilize it. The storyline too, though, I think they did a great job with the story. I think I'm not going to spoil it. You know, if you've watched stream, we played Forsaken on there. The end of the Forsaken map, such fan service. Oh man, I'm so excited to see where they go with that in future installments and whatnot. I touched on it during the maps aspect of things, but I wish the maps were just a little bit more, you know, unique and memorable. I don't feel like any of these maps, maybe like Apocalypse, but outside of the remaster maps, I don't think we're going to be seeing any of these maps coming back in future Black Ops installments. Maybe that, maybe Miami, but Miami wasn't that well received. I thought the aesthetic of Miami was great. However, in terms of actual game, Miami wasn't the best, and I will admit that. And I mean, obviously, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but I don't want this video to be an hour. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, very middle of the road for me. I didn't go into this game with the greatest attitude either, though, so I feel as though that might be should be taken into account. Going into Cold War, I was very excited because I felt as though I was really coming into my own as a player and could produce high-quality content that I try to produce day in and day out. However, the beta really left a sour taste in my mouth, and it made me almost quit Call of Duty altogether just because I couldn't figure it out, and for whatever reason, it just was so different, and I just couldn't play well. Obviously, down the line, I got considerably better and was able to kind of get a figure out and a hang for it, an understanding of the game, but at launch, it was very difficult, so I was stuck with that kind of sour taste in my mouth going into the game, and obviously, a lot of my friends stopped playing it, and I hope that Vanguard is able to bring them back. I think Vanguard will have that ability to bring people in. I hope too many people haven't given up on Call of Duty. I hope you had a good time listening to me bullshit about Call of Duty. I always have a good time bullshitting about Call of Duty with you guys. Truly one of the best communities on YouTube, and I won't be told otherwise. I love you guys so much. But yeah, let me know what you guys felt down and below. Tell me what you guys think about Cold War. thought about Cold War, I guess you could say, because this is the farewell tour right here. Tell me what you guys are excited for in Vanguard, or if you're not excited for Vanguard, if you're over Call of Duty, what are you excited for in Battlefield or Halo or hell, anything coming up? Let me know what you guys are excited for coming up. I love hearing from you guys, truly. If you like the content, make sure you leave a like on the content. It helps the algorithm, helps us grow every single day. I'm sitting at 540 right now, and I'm so just blown away by you guys. It's fantastic, the support I've gotten. It really is heartwarming, and I appreciate you. But yeah, and also if you're new to the channel and you like what you're seeing here, I'm streaming Monday through Friday, November 4th at 9:30 Pacific, or 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We're streaming 24 hours of Vanguard, so if you want to see a little bit of that, it's like 23 and a half because we got to take like a walking break so that we're not total delinquents. But still, if you guys are interested in that, make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss out on that. Like I said, streaming Monday through Friday. It's a fantastic time. We're doing great. I love it. But I appreciate you guys. Make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you're staying healthy. And I will see you when I see you.